Are you the toxic person in your circle? Are you the toxic person, period? Majority of people don't want to admit to it or they don't even know. Well, this video is going to help you identify if you are the toxic person. My name is Cyrus Ausar, and my mission is to embody the emotion of overcoming. I believe we all fight battles we hide from the world. My objective is to help you win those battles through perspective. Stay tuned. How to identify if you're the toxic person? You have to take a step back and self-assess. You have to really take a step back and self-assess. If you go everywhere, and everywhere you go, there's a problem. Number one, if people hear that you're coming, if people hear that you're coming to the party and you show up and the people you heard was going to be there are no longer there, might be you. Oftentimes, we have to take a step back and look at what we say and what we do to people and how it can affect them. Because I've done it in my life for sure. I went too far busting jokes or roasting. I done did a lot of things to a point that people be like, man, Cyrus there, I ain't going. Because everything ain't funny. I used to go too far when I was young. And I realized that I was actually being toxic. Because you want to joke, but you don't want to make somebody feel bad about it, or you don't want to get to a point that people don't even want to come around you. And I got a cousin, no matter where you take him, it's a fight. If you even hear he's going, you don't even want to go. Are you that person? No matter what, it's constantly a conflict. You can't go to Chipotle without complaining about them not giving you enough chicken and ready to fight. You can't go to McDonald's without them taking too long on your order. No matter where you go, it's an issue. But one thing we have to realize is what that causes in our life. A ton of stress. A ton of stress. Sometimes we have to let things go. But what you have to do is realize if you're that person. After I said what I said earlier, do you fit in those categories? Do you? If you do, how do you fix it is the next question. One, you have to recognize if you are that person. Two, you have to recognize how to change it. And this is how you change it. Talk to some of these people that will be straight up and honest with you. Some of your friends is probably already honest with you, saying that you're too difficult or whatever the case is. But talk to them about scenarios where you felt like you was 100% right and have them break it down. This is why you was wrong. You have to really think. If people are constantly avoiding you at all times, you can't sit back and say everybody wrong all the time, because this is going to make your life way harder. Way harder. Nobody looking out for you, everybody abandoning you, nobody want to go out with you, nobody want to do nothing with you, and you keep thinking it's everybody else. At some point, you have to think it might be me. And it's a hard thing to do. It's a hard thing to do is self-assess and realize that you're the problem. But it's not about constantly blaming yourself. It's about how do you fix it. How you fix it is reflecting upon it and changing the behavior patterns that causes it. If no matter where you go, a fight break out, why? Really reflect on why. Why did you fight the last person you fought? How did they disrespect you? We see it on TV, people fighting in McDonald's lines because they didn't get their food fast enough. How does that lead to a fight? How? Because they was too slow? So now, boom, I'm just fighting. Like, that says a lot. Like, I never understood in the first place why somebody disrespects somebody that's making their food. I never even got that. But that's a whole nother story. The point that I'm making is you have to self-assess and realize if you are toxic and how you have to put things in place to change that. That's really all it's about. What can you put in place to change it? Do you care? I know when I was younger, I didn't even care. It's like, listen, you don't rock with me, you don't rock with me. That was my mentality. But I forgot the ramifications it was causing in other people's lives. Like now you get to a point the park, people don't even want to show up to the park because you playing. That does a lot for somebody else's life, and it breaks a culture. Because now you get 15, now you got 10 people playing at the park. Now it cuts down to 7 next time because they don't know if you coming or not. Or if they find out you coming, they ain't going. You can't even run a full pickup game. Or a party. You got a lot of people that's not going to come if they know so-and-so is coming because of the toxicity they come with. And I just hope that's not you. That's all I'm saying. You have to self-assess and recognize if you are that person. And from there, you have to self-analyze how you can fix that with the friends and family you do have. Your mom, your dad, your best friend, if you have one, because you may be so toxic you drove everybody away to a point you don't even have a relationship with none of them. But the people that is around you, ask them to really be honest, even if it need to be in a written form. What's something we disagreed on? How did you really feel? Can you write it out for me, please? I'm trying to be better. The effort in getting better mentally, the effort in getting better all the way around the board is everything. When you face the same scenario again, will you handle it the same way you handled it the first time? That's the real question. If the person was slow in line at McDonald's and you fought them, are you going to fight them again next time that they slow? How are you going to self-assess to change your behavior pattern so you can remove that toxicity? That becomes the real question. How do you remove that toxicity? And I was just breaking it all down. Because you can't carry on this way. It carries too much stress. It carries too much anger. It got too many people not liking you. It got people not willing to help you. It got all these things it carries it's unnecessary. Why? Why even carry it if it's not necessary? And it can cause things like the depression, like the suicidal thoughts, like the anxiety, like all these things it can cause based upon you constantly being toxic, constantly having to look over your shoulder, constantly got to deal with something. We all only got so much energy per day. Sometimes, we're going to run out of energy early just on the fact of us giving so much to things that don't matter. That toxicity can manifest in us. And it's acidic, and it can spread to our kids, our little brothers, our little sisters, our nieces, our nephews. That can spread because some of these people may not be able to get out the way of your toxicity. If it's your kids, what can they do? Then they get grown and now they no longer want to even talk to you. It's a real thing. So I advise you to really reflect on if you are that toxic person. And I told you how you can recognize it. And I told you ways you can slightly fix it. It's just about that constant effort to be better than you was yesterday. Who want to become an adult and no longer talk to their parents? Or want their kids growing up and not wanting to talk to them or not respecting them and all this type of stuff based upon the foundation you laid with that toxicity? I know plenty of people that got that bad relationship with family members and whatnot because their family was so toxic around them. They was like, you know what? I am not even dealing with y'all. Are you one of those people? Or are you one of the people that grew up in a family where it was just so toxic? You like, I ain't even dealing with none of y'all. I'm gone. Well, imagine you putting that on somebody else and you not even knowing you putting it on somebody else. So that's why it's up to us to recognize if we are that toxic person and how to shift it. I hope this video helped you. If you know anybody that carry around that toxicity, or if you are that person, like, comment. I want to hear the stories. I want to hear something you dealt with or something you recognize behind somebody else. Was there a party you didn't want to go to because you heard so-and-so was going? And it's funny to know if somebody ever told you that later on. Like, I didn't even like you until I really got a chance to meet you because you used to be so negative or whatever the case is. Recognize if you're that toxic person. Thanks. I appreciate you watching the video.